Welcome to qnawire.
Hi guys, in this problem we're going to perform a cost volume profit analysis. So it's an analysis whereby a company will estimate the future activity of production expenses to be incurred, estimated sales, and the estimated profits that can be earned. In this analysis, all the expenses are classified into fixed expenses and variable expenses. So first we need to define the contribution margin, which is the profit earned for each unit sold, and it's calculated by deducting the variable expenses of the product from the sales generated by the product. Okay, and then we need to define the operating income or loss. Operating income or loss is the same income or loss from the operating activity. It's determined by reducing the fixed expenses from the contribution margin. So the axis of contribution margin over the fixed expenses is termed as operating income, and the axis of fixed expenses over the contribution margin is termed as operating loss. Okay, so for part A, we need to determine the contribution margin for the year 2014. So we know that the contribution margin, let it be CM, it's equal to the number of units sold. We have 410,000 units times the contribution margin per unit, which is equal to the selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit. So this is $68 minus $60. Okay, so now we have the contribution margin is equal to 3,280,000. Okay, this is the value of the contribution margin. In part B, we need to calculate the operating income, let it be ON. So the operating income is equal to the contribution margin, which we calculated before, 3,280,000, minus the fixed costs, which is 1,640,000. So the operating income is just $1,640,000. Okay, now in the second part, for part A, we need to determine the contribution margin again. So here we have the contribution margin is equal to the number of units sold, which is 410,000, times the contribution margin per unit, which is the selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit. But here we have the variable cost is 54, not 60. Okay, so the contribution margin is equal to 5,740,000. Okay, then we need to calculate the operating income for this case. So the operating income is the contribution margin, which is 5,740,000, minus the fixed costs, which is 5,330,000. Okay, so the operating income is $410,000. Okay, so manufacturing should not accept the proposal because the operating income is decreased from 1,640,000 to just 410,000. So the manufacturing contribution margin has increased from 3,280,000 to 5,074,000, but operating income is reduced. So the production manager's proposal should not be accepted. And that's it.